When's your due date?
Right now.
Is your due date 11?
What?
How many times have you been pregnant?
3.
This is your third pregnancy?
Yes.
You have 2 babies
It's
at
in
home?
my ass.
You have 2 babies at home? Who's your doctor?
Lang is her doctor. Y'all treat all your patients like this or just the black ones?
Everyone's a personality patient for you. Alright, last name is Jones. She's G3P2. I'm not sure when her due date is.
Her due date
I just
is the
said it
10th.
was the 10th.
I think her due date's the 10th.
She got 3 pregnancies, 2 babies at home.
2
I bet y'all listen next time. When you found out you was delivering at this hospital, your ass should have changed doctors. Everybody say how they treat people here.
I just witnessed medical racism with my own eyes, and I'm still angry about it. A black mother walked in literally mid-labor. She could barely stand, barely breathe, clearly about to give birth any minute. And instead of rushing her to a room like any urgent case, these nurses sat her in the waiting area like she was here for a regular appointment. This woman was doubled over, crying out, gripping the chair, begging for help, and the nurses acting like she wasn't even there. They were shuffling papers, chatting with each other, walking around so casually while she was suffering right in front of them. No urgency, no concern, nothing. She was left sitting there for over 30 minutes in pure pain and fear. And here's the part that makes it even worse. After they finally decided to take her back, her baby boy was born 12 minutes later. 12 minutes. That means she had been in clear, active labor the entire time, and they just ignored it. The delivery ended up being rushed and chaotic, only because they waited until the last possible moment to help her. Watching how slow and careless they were while a black woman literally fought through contractions in a waiting room, it made my blood boil. Because let's be honest, if she wasn't black, they would have taken her back immediately without a second thought. What I saw today was neglect, it was disrespect, it was racism in real time, and I'm not going to just pretend it didn't happen, because what they did was absolutely unacceptable. This needs to be talked about.
I need you guys to see something, but brace yourself. It is not good. You're going to be pissed, especially if you're a black woman.
Fuck.
When's your due date?
Right now.
Is your due date 11?
What?
How many times have you been pregnant?
3.
This is your third pregnancy? You
Yes.
have 2 babies
It's
at
in
home?
my ass.
You have 2 babies at home?
It gets worse, but that's all I can stomach right now. Black women, if you live in the United States, don't have a baby. Just don't do it. If you could watch that, if you could stomach it, and you still choose to have a baby in this country, like, brace yourself for how you're going to be treated. Am I saying all hospitals and nurses do that? No. But why would you have it anyway? I need somebody to figure out who the fuck this bitch is. We're going to figure it out. I'm not worried we're going to find her. But when we do, losing her license ain't going to be enough. Losing her job ain't going to be enough. The punishment better fit the crime.
The healthcare system is not set up for black women. And I'm saying this as someone who experienced this firsthand at St. Francis Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut on November the 1st of 2024. I just literally watched a video of a lady in labor. She's in active labor. She has her contractions. They're coming in, and the nurse is just concerned about asking her date of birth, how many children she have, instead of getting her comfortable and actually listening to her and watching her body language. She's sitting there asking her all these questions, causing her more distress. It's ridiculous how they treat us, and I'm saying that because of someone who has experienced this. But something has to give. Something has to give. She's in active labor, and I want you guys to watch it and give me your thoughts in the comments, because this is ridiculous. Here's the video below.
When's your due date?
Right now.
Is your due date 11?
What?
How many times have you been pregnant?
3.
This is your third pregnancy?
Yes.
You have 2 babies
It's in my ass.
And the thing with this is when you are in labor at times, it is hard to talk. When you are feeling active labor or even just contractions, it is painful. And they're more concerned about the administration part. You can get all that information after she gives birth. Use her ID to find out the questions. Go in the system to look up the answers. But to sit there and antagonize her.
Hello, TikTok family. This is a follow-up on the video that I posted earlier. So I was at work. I had no idea of the activity that was going on. My daughter's texting me, calling me. I didn't know what was going on. So finally I get home, they tell me about the video, and a lot of you was asking about a follow-up and to explain the situation. So this is the situation. My daughter went into active labor at home. We took her to the hospital. She called ahead of time, so we know they are expecting us. However, we get there to the emergency room. We watching nurses, putting gloves on, running to the door. They get outside of the door, and I drive a black SUV, and they look at my vehicle, and one of the nurses come up to the window, and she goes, I'm sorry, this is for ambulance only. I said, well, my daughter is in active labor. And she was like, okay, she said, but you're going to have to go to the front. I'm like, I have to drive to the front. And they said, yeah, you have to drive to the front. Okay, another redhead. And so I'm like, so she's in the, you hear, and it was like, yeah, she started bagging up, hit the button, went back inside the building. So I go around to the front. I get out of the car. Again, this girl is in more pain now than she was when we first left the house. And she started saying, I feel pressure, I feel pressure. I said, take deep breaths. I ran in. I said, hey, my daughter's in the car. I went to emergency. They told me I had to come to the front. So the lady was like, what's your daughter's name? Told her Kiara Jones. She gets out some paperwork. Started typing in the name. I was like, ma'am, do you have a wheelchair or anything? She's in the car. I need to get her in. Oh, if you check on the other side of those doors where the vending machine's at, there should be a wheelchair out there. There's no wheelchair out there. So she gets up, she walks in the back, and she come to the door with a wheelchair. She said, here you go, ma'am. I said, excuse me, you're not going to come with me? And she was like, no. Oh, okay. So, a police officer was in the lobby. He gets up. He grabbed a wheelchair. He goes out the door with me. He said, come on, I got you. Went out there. She is on hands and knees in the back of the vehicle. And I'm like, oh, shit, what is going on? And then she goes, it's in my ass. And I was like, what? And the guy was like, and she was like, he said, okay, and she was like, give me a minute. She could not move. So when that contraction eased, we put her in a wheelchair. He said, you can go park your car, because they, again, had people out there. So I went park my car. It wasn't even 30 seconds. I run back in the building. She's just there with a stack of papers in her hand, screaming that this baby is coming. This baby is coming. I look at the registers behind the window, and they looking at me, and they was like, well, we can't do anything until she signed the papers. Are you fucking kidding me? So I grabbed the papers, and of course, it's all ER bullshit that they have. And I was like, you want her to sign this, and she's in active labor. And they was like, okay. I was like, ma'am, she was supposed to be induced earlier today at 8 o'clock. And they called and told her that they will call her because they didn't have beds. And they would let her know. And no one ever called back. They called back every hour on an hour. And they was like, no, we'll call you back. And then finally, her water break, she called them. They tell her to come in. So why is she signing these papers? We need her in labor and delivery. And it was like, ma'am, I'm sorry. So the charge nurse comes out, and she saw the paper signed. What fucking, are you serious right now? And she closes the door. And then the lady behind the window, at this point, my daughter, scribbled her name on all the papers. We gave it to her. She says, thank you. She walked it around to the charge nurse. She opened up the door. My daughter is literally like having a contraction. And she's just standing there in the door. So we push her into the door. I said, can we get her into labor and delivery? She said, no, we have to fill out all this paperwork. I have to do the paperwork and get her a band before we can send her upstairs. So that was the video that you guys saw that I initially posted. So the next video that has no picture on it was when I was pushing her in and we was at the window because they asked me to move her from the window so they can take care of the guests or, patients that was coming in and out. Do not go to this hospital. This hospital is ghetto as hell. They do not care about black women or their babies. This is crazy. I read about stuff like this all the time. But to see this firsthand, this lady did not care. None of them. It wasn't until we got into labor and delivery where we saw an ounce of care or sympathy for her. Before then, they can care less. She did not care if she gave birth in that wheelchair. That was not her problem or her concern.
I just watched something that absolutely disgusted me. As a former ER nurse and a current labor and delivery nurse, I usually try to seek the best intent of a nurse. Not today. Because barring you having a medical emergency yourself, where your legs, your arms, and your voice no longer work, there is zero excuse for the blatant neglect that I just watched. And as a reminder, Black women are 3 times as likely to die in and around childbirth than their white counterparts. Part of that is because they are not believed about their pain. How you can sit there on the computer and act like you don't notice that this woman is actively birthing beside you is crazy town to me. Unacceptable, inexcusable. And if you've got coworkers who you watch do something like that, you are just as culpable.